Hi, welcome once again to another new video. This is Santosh Sahu and you are watching Sahu's tutorial, and in this YouTube video I will be covering another 50 important MCQ questions for the upcoming UGC NET exam on English literature. As you know that I am conducting here 1000 MCQ series for the upcoming UGC NET exam. This is the part 19. In the previous 18 videos I have discussed 900 MCQ questions, 900 MCQ questions along with explanation. So if you want to watch those videos, please visit the playlist, that is 1000 MCQ series, and you will get all the videos there. In 18 videos I have discussed 900 MCQ along with explanation. This is the part 19. So watch the video till the end, because it is going to be a very informative session, very fruitful session. So let's get into the video. But before starting the session, I would like to request all of you, please do subscribe my channel and tap the bell icon to get more notification that I will upload in future. And do not forget to share with your friends and hit the like button as well. So here is your first question on your screen, that is question number 901. So please do write in the comment box, and if you have not subscribed yet, please do subscribe. So here question number 901, which play of Ibsen has the setting of the home of the Helmer family? So there is a Helmer family in an unspecified Norwegian town or city in 1879, which is a naturalistic or realistic problem play. Opens at Christmas time, as Nora Helmer enters her home carrying many packages, and her husband, named that is Torvald, playfully rebukes her for spending so much money on Christmas gifts and calling her his little squirrel. Name the play. Name the play. Your options are An Enemy of the People, Hedda Gabler, A Doll's House, and Ghosts. So the right option here, it is A Doll's House. So in Doll's House there is characters there are characters like, that is Nora Helmer and Torvald, calls his wife, that is Nora Helmer, as little squirrel who wastes money. So question number 902. Who wrote The House of the Spirits? The House of the Spirits and City of the Beasts. These are novels written by whom? Isabel Allende, Emile Zola, Miguel de Cervantes, August Strindberg. So these novels were written by Isabel Allende. So A is the right option over here. Next question. The Wild Duck, When We Dead Awaken, and Robert Solm, The Master Builder. These are all works, they are all plays. Who is the author? Henry Gibson, Emile Zola, Miguel de Cervantes, August Strindberg. So these all plays were actually written by Henrik Ibsen. Henrik Ibsen has written all these plays. Which of the following facts is not true? Is not true about Spencer? He is a kind of English Homer, telling stories of heroic confrontation. It's true. He fashioned an original verse form, that is Spenserian stanza. True. He opposed England's break with England's break with Roman Catholic Church, or he is a Christian poet. Yeah, he is a Christian poet, but he did not oppose England's break with the Roman Catholic Church. So this option is not right. So here, which is not true? C is not true. C is the right option here. Next question. William Blake developed the ideas of prolifics and devourers. Prolifics and devourers in which work? Jerusalem? No. Milton? No. Marriage of Heaven and Hell, or Songs of Innocence and Songs of Experience? No. So in the work, that is the Marriage of Heaven and Hell, in this work William Blake has developed the ideas of prolifics and devourers. So C is the right option over here. Surrealism is associated with Ernest Crazier, Cassius, no. Tristan Zara, no. Henry Gibson, no. Andrew Gritton, it's Andrew Gritton. Andrew Gritton is associated with Surrealism. It was founded by the poet Andrew Breton in Paris in 1924. Surrealism was an artistic and literary movement. It proposed that the Enlightenment, the influential of 17th and 18th century intellectual movement that championed reason and individualism, had suppressed the superior qualities of the irrational and the unconscious mind. The reason and the individualism had suppressed the superior qualities of the irrational and the unconscious mind. So it is founded by whom? It was founded by Andrew Breton in Paris 1924. What common link do you find among all these works? The Disquieting Muses by Sylvia Plath, The Starry Nights and by Anne Sexton, Confessional Poet, Morning Picture by Adrian Rich, and Musidius Bexart's famous work by W. Sonnen. These are all paintings. So they were influenced by painting. They inspired painting. They did not inspire painting. Rather, they were all inspired by paintings. They are confessional poems. No. They are all inspired by paintings. They all are inspired by Van Gogh's paintings. No. They are all inspired by. It is a PYQ questions. They are all inspired by paintings. Okay. Next question. Charles Kingsley wrote fascinating novels depicting social problems. Which of the four novels deals with this side of social problem? Charles Kingsley's novel that deals with that is depicting social problems. Okay. Alton Locke, The Water Babies, Hypatia, or Hereward the Wake. So it is the Water Babies. It is the Water Babies. And Water Babies subtitle is A Fairy Tale for a Land Baby. The Water Babies, or A Fairy Tale for a Land Baby, a children's novel by Charles Kingsley, written 1862-1863. It was written as a part of a satire in support of Charles Darwin's On the Origin of Species. It was as a part satire in support of Charles Darwin's On the Origin of Species, where the protagonist is Tom, a young chimney sweep. Tom, who falls into a river after encountering an upper-class girl named Ellie being chased out of our house. There he appears to drown and is transformed into a water baby, and he is told by a caddisfly, an insect that sets its skin and begins his moral education. The story is thematically concerned with Christian redemption, though Kingsley also uses the book to argue that England treats its poor badly, and to question child labor among other themes. Okay. In the style of Victorian era novels, The Water Baby is a didactic and a moral fable. In it, Kingsley expresses many of the common prejudices of the time period, and the book includes dismissive or insulting references to Americans, Jews, blacks, and Catholics, particularly the Irish. The book had been intended in part as a satire. It is intended as a satire, a tract against child labor, so the social issues, as well as a serious critique of the closed-minded approaches of many scientists of the day. Okay. Next question. Which of the poem by Matthew Arnold is an incursion or attack into the field of Norse mythology? Scholarship, no. Ballardet, Sohrab and Rustam, Obermann. So it is in Ballardet. Ballardet is a narrative poem with powerful tragic themes, first published 1855 by Matthew Arnold, and the poem draws upon Norse mythology, retelling the story of the murder of Odin's son. In the Hollywood film, retelling the story of the murder of Odin's son Balder, as brought about by the wicked machinations of Loki, blood brother to Odin. So this is Balder, Norse mythology, Ballardet. In which poem by Shelley did he deal with the idea that church, state, and society prevented man's perfect happiness? So who prevented? That is the church, state, and society prevented man's perfect happiness. In which book? Sensi, Prometheus Unbound, no. Adonis, no. Queen Mab, no. Queen Mob. Shelley's Sensi, a tragedy in 5 acts. So in the Sensi, a tragedy in 5 acts, subtitle is a verse drama in 5 acts by P.B. Shelley, written in the summer of 1819, inspired by a rare Italian family, the house of Sensi and Celis composed a play in Rome at Valsco near Livorno. Okay, a reviewer writing of the Literary Gazette 1820, in the other hand, wrote the plays as obnoxious, odious, and this abominable. The taboo subjects of incest, patricide, that is parricide, as well as the negative depiction of Roman Catholic Church, however, prevented the censorship from being staged publicly. So it was actually prevented to stage publicly because of its taboo subjects, that is incest, patricide, parricide, as well as the negative depiction of Roman Catholic Church. It caused a problem. That's why it was prevented from being staged publicly. Which work? That is Sensi, a tragedy in 5 acts in 1819 by P.B. Sethi. All rising to great place. All rising to great place is a quotation by dash. You have to fill it up. So all rising to a great place is by dash a stair. It is a quotation from Francis Bacon. So here it was told by Francis Bacon. Actually, it is a winding stair, by a winding stair. The work 1985, and was written by, he was influenced by the work of George Orwell 1984. The work 1985 was written by whom? George Orwell. No, George Orwell in 1984. Anthony Burgess, it does not exist. So yeah, it was written by Anthony Burgess. Anthony Burgess was inspired by George Orwell 1984 novel, dystopian novel, and he wrote 1985 is a novel by English writer Anthony Burgess. Originally this book was published 1978. It was inspired by, his intended as a tribute to George Orwell's novel, that is 1984. In which of his poems does T.S. Eliot write the following lines? Speak to me, why do you never speak? The Hollow Man, Ash Wednesday, The Wasteland. So these lines appeared in the work The Wasteland, that was published in the year 1922 by T.S. Eliot, the magnum opus. In Jeremy Collier's 1968 pamphlet, that is a pamphlet where he attacks the immortality and the profaneness of the English stage. Who among the following was the principal target? William Congreve was there, but William Congreve was not the principal target. Rather, it was John Vanbrugh. John Vanbrugh was the principal target of Jeremy Collier, whereas William Congreve was also an attack. He had also attacked William Congreve in this work, but Vanbrugh was the main or the principal target. So here C is the right answer over here. Which of the following statements are not true about 12th night? 12th night is said in Illyria, very true. Viola disguises as Cesario as a man, true. Countess Olivia falls in love with Cesario, true. Duke Orsino is in love with Viola, no. Duke Ursula is in love with actually Olivia. It's Olivia. Duke Orsino is in love with Olivia. Let's look at this. Throughout the play, Duke Orsino constantly professes his love for Olivia. But in doing so, however, he sounds more in love with the idea of love than he is in with Olivia. In the end, he realizes that he truly loves Viola, not Olivia. Charles Dickens' visit to United States produced Hard Times, no. Nicholas Nickleby, no. Martin Chuzzlewit, Oliver Twist. It was Martin Chuzzlewit. So Charles Dickens had visited to United States, and it had helped him to produce Martin Chuzzlewit. Let's look at this expansion here. Life and Adventures of Martin Chuzzlewit is a novel by Charles Dickens, considered last of his picaresque novels, serialized between 1942 to 1844. Dickens had visited America in 1942, in part as a failed attempt to get the US publisher to honor international copyright laws. He satirized the country as a place filled with self-promoting hucksters eager to sell and light unseen. In later edition, and his second visit 24 years later to March USA, he made clear it was satire, not to a balanced image of the nation in a speech, and then included that speech in a future edition. Okay. The main theme of the novel, according to Dickens' preface, is selfishness, a portrait in a satirical fashion using all the members of the Chuzzlewit family. The novel is also notable for two of Dickens' great villains, that is Seth Pecksniff and Jonah Chuzzlewit. That is Seth Pecksniff and Jonah Chuzzlewit. Dickens introduced the first private detective character in this novel. Okay. It is dedicated to Angela Georgina Burdett Coates, a friend of Dickens. Who among the following is a working class poet? John Benjamin, no. Tony Harrison, Tom Gunn, Robert Grace. It was Tony Harrison was a working class poet, and his famous work is V. V is a famous work by Tony Harrison written 1985. The poem aroused much controversy when broadcast in film version in British Public Service Television Channel 4 due to its extensive use of profanity and racial epithets. The poem uses profanity directly as well as when. So the poem gives a description of the graffiti on the grave and pays particular notice to the use of the word united, exploring its ambiguous meaning, either as the name of a football club, that is Leeds United, or as the concept of unity. Next question. In Shakespeare's historical tragedy Julius Caesar, the forbidding storm takes place on which of the days? Okay, the storm takes place the forbidding storm takes place on which of the days? Okay, St. Patrick's Day, Palm Sunday, Ides of March, Good Friday. So in this Ides of March in C. So C is the right option over here. How does Hedda Gabler commit suicide? Hedda Gabler shoots herself by drowning, by poisoning, by jumping into the sea. No. So Hedda Gabler commits suicide, shoots herself in the head by pistol, with a pistol. Shoots herself in the head. Is there right answer over here? The moral. The world is not the reasonable place we are led to believe, and that all powers corrupts. Okay. And that one had to live with the darkness of man's heart. It's conveyed through Lord of the Flies, Heart of Darkness, Pilgrim Progress, So this moral was conveyed through the William Goldlick's novel, that is the Lord of the Flies. So A is the right answer here. New Science is a work by G. Battista Vico, that is Giambattista Vico, G. Science, New Science. Is a major work by Italian philosopher Giambattista Vico, published in 1725 to little success, but it's gone on to highly regarded and influential philosophy of history, sociology, and anthropology. The central concepts were highly originate and prolific at the age of enlightenment. Next question. Identify Petrarch's sonnet sequence. It is Rhine-Spear. Rhine-Spears is the Petrarch sonnet sequence. Rhine-Spears. Next question. The island setting of Latmos. Latmos figures in Keats' Endymion, the emotion diagnosis, Lamia, Hyperion. So in Keats' Endymion, the island setting of Latmos appears. Endymion is a poem by John Keats, and it is John Keats dedicated this poem Endymion to the late poet, that is Thomas Chatterton. And the poem begins with a line that is a thing of beauty, joy forever. Endymion is written in rhyming couplets in iambic pentameter, also known as heroic couplets. Keats based the poem on the Greek myth of Endymion, the shepherd beloved of the moon goddess, that is Selene. The poem elaborates on the original story and renames Selene Cynthia, alternative name for Artemis. It starts by painting a rustic scene of trees, rivers, shepherds, and sheep. The shepherds gather around an altar and pray to Pan, god of shepherds and flocks. Okay, here, as the youth sing and the dance, the elder men sit and talk about what life would be like in the states of Elysium. However, Endymion, the brain-sick shepherd prince of Mount Latmos. So Endymion, the brain-sick shepherd prince of Mount Latmos, is in trance-like state and not participating in their discourse. His sister Peona takes him away and brings him to her resting place where he sleeps. After he wakes, he tells Peona of his encounter with Cynthia and how much he loved her. The poem is divided into 4 books. So, Endymion is divided into 4 books. It was dedicated to the late poem Thomas Chatterton. Okay, moving to next question. The poem that is Against Romanticism was written by Kingsley Amis. Kingsley Amis has written Against Romanticism. Next question. The character Atticus that figures in epistle to Dr. Arbuthnot is satirical portrayal of addition still. So it is Sporus Harvey and Atticus additions. Okay. Next question. The artist hero is a theatrical creation emphasized by whom? The artist hero here is the artist hero, I think I will have to check it. The artist hero, the W.B. Yeats artist hero, Charles Baudelaire, Oscar Wilde, and I have to check it. Okay. Next question. Which of the following African writers won the Nobel Prize for Literature? It is Chinua Achebe did not receive, Ngugi wa Thiong'o did not receive, Bessie Head did not receive. The African writers, okay, Nadine Gordimer had received the Nobel Prize. So here B is the right answer here. Okay. My lute, be as thou wert, then when thou didst grow, with thy green mother in some shady grove. William Drummond has written. The above quotation is an example of end-stopped rhyme, alliteration. There is no alliterations. Run out, tar said. It's a run on line. Where, what is run on line? Dekho. My lute be as thou wert when thou didst grow, with thy green mother in some shady grove. So it's a run-on line. What is run-on line? Having a thought that carries over to the next line. So the thought is carrying over to the next line, especially without a syntactical break. Which African American writer, Afro American writer, wrote the play that is Playing in the Dark, Wideness and Literary Imagination? Toni Morrison, Jordan Livingston, Emily Baraka, Alice Walker. So here, Playing in the Dark, Wideness and Literary Imagination is a work written by Toni Morrison, the Afro American writer. Toni Morrison. Jordan Hurston, the famous writer of Afro American, wrote a play called Mulebone, a comedy of negritude in collaboration with which writer? Your options are here: Langston Hughes, Toni Morrison, Emily Baraka, and Alice Walker. So here, Jordan Hurston wrote a play called Mulebone. Its subtitle is A Comedy of Negritude. Was written in collaboration with Langston Hughes. So Langston Hughes and Jordan Hurston had written Mulebone. Langston Hughes the right answer here. Next question: Structure, Sign and Play in the Discourse of the Human Science by Jacques Derrida was delivered in 1966, 1956, 1976. Structure, Sign and Play in the Discourse of Human Science was delivered in the year 1966. Next question: Salad days. These are terms popularized in the works Antony and Cleopatra. You have to identify the wrong pair. Salad days was popularized in Antony and Cleopatra. Very true. Give the devil's his due. Henry the Fourth, Part 1. True. Wild Goose says no. Naked Truth. Love labors lost. True. So what is salad day? Salad day is actually this phrase is attributed to William Shakespeare, who made the first known use of it 1606 play, that is Antony and Cleopatra, in the speech at the end of the Act 1, in which Cleopatra is regretting her youthful dalliances with Julius Caesar, and she says that my salad days when I was green in judgment, cold in bold, to say as I said then. So it is about referring to a period of carefree innocence, idealism, and a pleasure associated with youth. So it's a carefree innocence, idealism, and a pleasure associated with salad days in Antony and Cleopatra. Who coined the following words like hard-headed, cherubic, loquacious, impassive, moonstruck, or unadventurous, or adjustments, idle worksy? Spencer, Shakespeare, Bible translators, Milton. It was Milton. Next question: in his introduction to the Oxford Book of 20th Century English Verse, Oxford Book of 20th Century English Verse, 1973, Philip Larkin underlines the importance of a native tradition with dash seen as a major poet of the modern poet. With William Butler, it's T.S. Eliot, Thomas Hardy, with Thomas Hardy. So here Thomas Hardy is seen as the major poet of the modern period. Major poet of the modern period as Thomas Hardy. Who was it that defended Tennyson as come what may he will be one of our greatest poets? Okay. Come what may he will be one of our greatest poets. Jim Hopkins, Robert Browning, Arnold. No, it was J.M. Hopkins. Gerard Manley Hopkins. Next question: Samuel Johnson wrote the following in order to pay for his mother's funeral. For his mother's funeral, Samuel Johnson had written Rasselas, Rambler, Lives of the Poets, Dictionary. No, it was Rasselas. Rasselas was written by Samuel Johnson. It was to pay for his mother's funeral. Moving to next question: English Bards and Scotch Reviewers by Byron's, The Survey of English Poetry. No, The Contemporary Literature. True. Satire against the Edinburgh Review. So here true. So B and C is true. B and C are true. Here both B and C. So it is not about a survey of English poetry, rather it is a contemporary literation and satire against the Edinburgh Review. English Bards and Scotch Reviewers by Byron. Next question: Who criticized Tennyson in the following terms? That he had the finest ear, perhaps of any English poet. He was also undoubtedly the stupidest. W. Jordan, T.S. Eliot, Dylan Thomas. So it is W. Jordan. W. Jordan has told he would criticize Tennyson by saying that he had the finest ear, perhaps of any English poet. He was also undoubtedly the stupidest. W. Jordan. Next question: Philip Sidney defended poetry. He had defended poetry against the church description of the mother of lies. Who said? Plato. And the nurse of the abuse. Okay. His main argument, it is Stephen Goshen's The Mother of Lies. Philip Sidney defended poetry against such descriptions of it as mother of lies and the nurse of abuse. So the poet is no conjurer or illusionist and represents world. So Philip Sidney defended poetry against such description. The poet is no conjurer or illusionist or represent a world. No, the poet cannot be lie because he is not claiming that he is not claiming to tell us the truth. Okay, the poet cannot speak the truth because he is not representing the real world. No, the poet is a philosopher for whom the truth is lying. No, so here the poet cannot lie because he is not claiming to tell. वो claim नहीं कर रहा है कि वो सच है. He is not claiming to tell us the truth. Okay. So he is not claiming to tell us the truth. So here B is the right option here. Okay. Chapter 3. In chapter 3 of Oliver Twist, okay, opens with the narratorial remark about Oliver being punished for the commission of the impious and profane offense of asking for more. What did Oliver ask for more? More time to play? No. More food to eat, more books to read, more money to spend. It was to more food to eat. Oliver Twist. B is the right answer. Okay. Next question. In which poem do we come across these lines? For men may come and men may go, but I go on forever. This is about the brook. The brook. Daffodils, Ode to Nightingale, the brook by Lord Alfred Tennyson. Here the brook. That is, for men may come and men may go out, but I go on forever. These are the opening, these are the ending lines of that poem. Okay, and so the Alfred Lord Tennyson, the brook. These are the lines. And out again I carve and flow to join the brimming river. For men may come and men may go, but I go on forever. So here the stream, the brook is here saying. The Brook by Alfred Lord Tennyson. Next question. What was the award that Thomas Hardy was given? Nobel Prize? No. Order of Merit, Poet Laureate. So it was Thomas Hardy was given the prestigious Order of Merit. B is the right option here. Okay. Advancements in Epithalamion. Epithalamion is a carefully structured poem carrying dash corresponding to the dash. Okay. 12 stanzas. No. Months of a year. No. 365 lines. Days of her. Yeah. So it contains 365 lines. 365 lines of 1 year. That constitutes 1 year. Okay. So here of 1 year. Okay. Next question. Who said the following work for James Joyce's Ulysses? The work of a quasi undergraduate scratching his pimples. T.S. Eliot, Alan Tate, F.R. Davis. No. So here, who said the following for James Joyce's Ulysses? The work of a quasi undergraduate scratching his pimples. It was Virginia Woolf. So it is Virginia Woolf had told. So D is the right answer here. Next question. Who also known as Swan of Litchfield? Swan of Litchfield is here Anna Seward. Anna Seward is known as Swan of Litchfield. That women's days were spent in ignorant goodwill. That women's days were spent in ignorant goodwill. Her nights in an argument until her voice grew still. These lines are from William Butler Yeats' poem that is Easter 1916. Who is the poet referring here? Who are the women here? Maud Gonne? No. Lady Augusta Gregory? No. Kathleen Fletcher? No. It was Constance Gore or Booth Markievicz. So here it's a PYQ question. So here Constance Gore and Booth Markievicz are the ones. Its first subject, the women whose days he thought were spent in ignorant goodwill, is Constance Markievicz, a member of the aristocratic Gore-Booth family from country Sligo. Yeats had known the Gore-Booth sisters, Constance and Eva, during his visits to his Sligo grandparents. In later poem, he remembered their youthful grace and beauty also. During the Easter Rising, Constance Markievicz, who had married a Polish count, was part of the group of citizen army members who took over the Royal College of Surgeons. She was condemned to death but escaped execution because the British authorities were reluctant to consign a woman to the firing squad. Next question. Which of the following was replaced by communicative language? So communicative language teaching was replaced by structural approach. Structural. So here D is the right option. Here okay, it's a PYQ question. It's a PYQ. Communicative language teaching was approached. This approach was replaced by structural approach. Next question. To whom does the Francis Bacon offer the following piece of advice? So let him sequester himself from the company of his countrymen and die in such places where there is good company of the nation. Let him upon his removes to procure recommendation to some persons of quality residing in the place and whither he removed. The bivouacs, no, the peddler, no, the traveller, the stationer. So it is about the traveller. The traveller. When was Mary Wollstonecraft's A Vindication of the Rights of Women, the famous one, A Vindication of the Rights of Women, is published in 1792. The year 1792. Mary Wollstonecraft's A Vindication of the Rights of Women, published in 1792. The seminal English language feminist work was published in England, challenging the notion that women exist only to please men. So he proposed that women and men be given equal opportunities in education, work and politics. So here, to wind up the session, here is the question number 950. Who among the following refused Nobel Prize? Pablo Neruda, Boris Pasternak, Albert Camus, Jean-Paul Sartre. So here Jean-Paul Sartre had refused, okay, because he didn't want to be institutionalized. He didn't want to be institutionalized, that's why, okay, he refused the Nobel Prize. The 59-year-old author Jean-Paul Sartre had declined the Nobel Prize in Literature, which he was awarded in October 1964, but he said he always refused official distinctions and didn't want to be institutionalized. So here, for this reason, okay, he had rejected, okay, the Nobel Prize. So thank you once again for watching this video, and do not forget to subscribe my channel, SHOO'S Tutorial, and stay tuned with my channel and tap the bell icon to get more notifications that I will upload in future, and share with your friends. Okay, thank you.